Hey everyone, welcome back to The Right Dweller. So, a lot to talk about. Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris to be his VP. Kamala Harris, someone who called him a racist previously, someone who told him that since he opposed busing, he stopped young black people into getting further ahead in their careers, getting further ahead in the path to success. She said he stopped them from doing that because he sympathized with segregationists and he was just the worst person in politics for black people and people of color. Now, we know that's false because his approval rating in minority communities, especially the black community, is astronomically high, even though he makes comments that are somewhat racist, but he is way more liked in the black community than Kamala Harris, who, while she was prosecutor in California, tried to block evidence that stopped someone that would stop someone from getting killed on death row. She used her power to intimidate citizens, to intimidate mothers because their kids weren't going to school. She locked several thousands upon just so many people. She locked up because of marijuana violations, and then joked about smoking marijuana in high school or in college. She is just the worst, absolute worst, in my opinion. I hated her more than anyone who was running for president in this election, any Democratic candidate. And it's just crazy because I was really expecting Joe Biden to pick Susan Rice, who's also very sketchy, but he picked someone who he just had a feud with. Like, Kamala Harris very openly expressed her dislike for Joe Biden. And now she's seen in the campaign with him. She's just she is gonna be his vice president if he gets elected. And that's very scary because, who knows what will happen to Joe Biden in the next 4 years if he gets elected. And then she's going to be the one in power. And she is so not only unlikable, but unliked by everyone, even the community she tries to pander to. She's unliked by everyone. And it's absolutely absurd that Joe Biden would pick her. Now, then again, there is, maybe he's trying to pick a woman of color, but this is someone who didn't have a soft spot for Joe Biden. So, I mean, in all honesty, it's crazy that it's Kamala Harris. I didn't think I'd ever see her again after she dropped out, got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard, but looks like we are. Looks like we are going to see her. And so that's absolutely insane. I really couldn't believe it. So let's take a look at what Kamala Harris, did in her past that she might also do in the future, in if she becomes vice president. Well, she blamed other people for some of the things she did. She is strangely stiff and not professional, and she's also just incredibly just not charming. She doesn't have anything going for her. She used She used inmates for cheap labor in California. She put an innocent man on death row, tried to block evidence. She did a whole bunch of things that affected the black community and the minority community poorly. But if you think about it, Joe Biden isn't exactly, well with words when it comes to these minority communities. He said a racist thing or two, even recently. You could call it a gaffe, but maybe it's also just what he thinks, And so for example, he said, poor kids are just as smart as white kids or something like that. And then he said, the exact quote, I think it was that Hispanics are more diverse than blacks because blacks apparently have a hive mentality. All this sort of thing that if Donald Trump had said it, he would get ravaged by everyone. He would get criticized by conservatives. But the left is so against the president that they have to defend a man who over and over and over insults, denigrates, just straight up disrespects the communities that he's trying to win over, that he's trying to get vote for him. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And I just don't see how someone like him could be won over by these progressives that are moving further and further over to the left, which is why my prediction is that Donald Trump is going to win. Maybe he won't. I'm not saying that he will, but he probably will, because these far leftists know that Joe Biden isn't exactly Bernie Sanders. He isn't exactly Elizabeth Warren. He's Joe Biden, someone who's messed up so many times. And people in the center aren't going to like Joe Biden either, because now they're beginning to realize, oh, he's not even a moderate. He's pandering to the radical communist left. So I think more and more people are going to see that Donald Trump is the best option, especially now that as Tim Pool and Adam Krigler like to say, horrible Harris, and I think that's an appropriate term for her, because she's horrible. She's an absolutely terrible person in Congress. She's a terrible senator. And so that's why that's why I think the Democrats are going to lose this election. But let me know what you think down below. Thank you for listening to today's rant. I'm sorry I couldn't upload a podcast, a video yesterday, but tomorrow I'll be back. And the day after I should be back too. So please hit subscribe if you like conservative commentary, if you like hearing the other side of things, not the mainstream media, but the actual truth. And help me be part of the intellectual dark web if you can. Thank you all so much, and see you guys tomorrow.